This week, the horny continued. Not only that, we learned some interesting things about characters, and Bushiroad reminded us they're a company and they gotta pay the fucking bills. So, let's get right on into it with shot one, as we had a zoomed in shot of Megumi's mouth where her lips had like complete detail. Many of you might find that a random thing to bring up, but I don't know why. Whenever they do that in anime, I always find it really weird and jarring. Like when they did it in Wonder Egg Priority, I also found it really weird. I don't know, it's just... It should have lips to me. Like if they don't have it always, then don't... This is totally pointless, but I just find it weird. Anyways, so, moving forward. We find out that Donji is going to be a professional wrestler because Donji does everything. And the whole way this plays out, I love how the entire opening bit where he gets told to be a wrestler is played with no irony, just very straight, very serious. I think that makes it extra funny. So yeah, Donji's going to be a wrestler. Megumi thinks it's ludicrous. Yu being Donji's boyfriend is just going to go along with it. We get a training montage, which, for starters, can we talk about Yu being able to keep up with Donji running while holding the water bottle is pretty impressive. Yu got some muscle. We also see Yu getting lifted. That's also kind of funny, considering we all know the lifting we think these two do, if you know what I mean. Hey. Then get to the introduction of the wrestling character. For those of you who don't, and of course, naturally, there's a bunch of press like, Donji, are you ready to do this? And Megumi's like, this is so stupid. I kind of like Megumi's whole attitude. This whole episode is just like, why the fuck are we doing this? That's funny. So then for those of you who don't know, Bushiroad is very heavily involved in Japanese wrestling. I use that simplistic term because I don't overly know the details, nor do I overly care. Professional wrestling has never particularly seemed interesting or entertaining me. It's not that I don't respect the work that goes into professional wrestling and what professional wrestlers do. There is a lot that goes into it, an insane amount of talent and performance and production. I respect all that to a T. And I totally understand the perspective that's just anime but live action. I get all these things. It's just never been for me. I'm sorry. It's just never really been my thing. So when the wrestler shows up, I'm pretty certain this is a real person that they just modeled into the anime. That being said, there's such a contrast between him and Donji, it kind of makes all their interactions entertaining. Like, this is a behemoth monster of a man versus Donji, who's presented as obviously being physically fit, but not like this guy. And I do think the design is very cool. So then, of course, naturally, I was getting kind of worried at this point because we hadn't even heard any reference to card games in this card game anime. But then he's, of course, just like, oh, well, I see you have cards. I also play cards. We're going to have a card fight wrestling match. Okay. That's what they're going to do. Is anyone getting a little worried how little card games are in this card game anime? I know we like Vanguard more as a drama than trying to be a shonen revolving around card games, but I'm just thinking back to, like, G, where we never got anything. Because we had those two gorgeous Sakuga shots in the first two episodes, but that was 3 episodes ago. It's mostly been a lot of goofy jokes and meandering. But anyways, it's neither here nor there. It'll be fine. But so yeah, so then we get to the actual wrestling event itself, which is just kind of more goofy shenanigans. They're funny. Like, they're very funny, and I really like how sadistically involved in everything the Brantgate girl is. She's so much fun in this show. Like, no one really seems to be talking about her, and some people get put off by her weird mouth, but she's really funny, and I think the actress is doing a great job of just yucking up scenery. It makes for a very fun show. So then the whole, like, wrestling event starts, and the brown-haired girl finds it very entertaining, and one little clever thing they did was when Yu and Megumi are walking back with the water bottles, 10 in tow, like a perfectly good shipped couple usually does to get attention. The one dude is like, the young lady seems entertained. At that moment, I assumed we were talking about Megumi, because Megumi obviously seems to be part of the main plot of the show. I thought that was a nice little, I don't know if it was on purpose or not, but it acted as a nice little bait and switch. You assume, it's about the more relevant character. More on that in a minute. So then they go back and the match starts, and the card fight part starts off round 1, where we find out this guy is playing Eugene, so obviously he can't be that good. And right when Donji's about to do something, it's time to wrestle. And the wrestling segments are very fucking funny. Like, they're really funny. I really love seeing things like Donji switches himself with another dude, and then there's 2 more Donjis, but the guy's like, it's obviously you. I like watching him just get the shit kicked out of him. I like Megumi foaming at the mouth. I like the Brant girl just having a fuck ton of fun with it. It's all very fun, and it's very entertaining, but I'm kind of like, are we gonna play card games? Are we going to even bring card games up? I'm not saying this is a problem. I'm not trying to shit on things. Again, I get it. They want to do more than just be a toy commercial with this. But at the same time, I'm kind of like, your job is to make the card game interesting. Again, at least these characters are interesting and they're not the G characters. So then, the match is over. And Donji, of course, gets the shit kicked out of him. And I kept expecting that goofy moment, like when he's got like his foot on the rope so he can keep going, and it's just like, no. I like how Yu is so fucking into this. Like, Megumi's like, this is so stupid. Yu, however, is into it. Also, Yu being dressed up as a girl came back into this. Also, Donji is like drawn as really muscular. So yeah, Yu dressed up as a girl again because they didn't have an actual girl to hand the flowers, which results in all the men in the audience saying that Yu is their type and wanting to bang him, and Megumi starts hitting him with the bouquet. I like that joke. I almost forgot about it. But then we get to the end of the episode where you expect the revelation of how this relates to Megumi. But no, it turns out the reason, I don't remember anyone's name yet. The reason Yoshike, or the dude with the long hair, the reason he did all this is as an anniversary present for Brantgate Girl, because apparently they are dating. It's their anniversary, and I think the way I'm supposed to take her going, you get a gift too, is she's gonna bring him home and blow him. I think that's the point. What? Just out of nowhere? What kind of random, weird pairing is that? You assume this girl's gonna end up with Donji. No, she's dating this dude. A random side character who she is technically gonna be more important than. What is that? How is that? I love it. I like it. I really like it. I like the idea that these characters have personal relationships with each other that we don't see because we don't need to see everything. That's how you make characters feel like real people. You show us stuff to give us an idea, but always give us that feeling there are things they do when we're not watching. We don't spend a lot of time with these two, which would normally mean that they have no lives. They have no existence. They don't function. They're not part of our main trio, so therefore, who cares about them? Well, the writers care, because they came up with this interesting little idea of, yeah, they're dating. They have a life outside of this with each other. That is a neat, cool, fun character beat that I love to see more anime, more card game anime actually just attempt to do. Just do little things to give people lives. That's all I ask. And so at the end of the episode, they tie him to a thing and start shooting BB pellets at him. Yuya's like, I kind of had fun with this. And then the episode ends. And then the post-credit scene is the Keter guy who hasn't said anything, or showed up since the first episode, introducing what's his face, Sebastian, instead of like the other guy giving a detail of Eugene. But I'm like, but yeah, no one talked about Eugene or did anything. It was just there, and I'm just kind of like, shouldn't my card game anime have more card game? We'll see where this goes. Maybe they just want the first few dedicated to fun and lightheartedness, and we'll get more card game stuff later. We'll see. But for now, it's something we should maybe keep an eye on. But yeah, so anyways, that was this episode. It is very funny. It's a lot of fun. A lot of people I'm already seeing are comparing this to Yu-Gi-Oh! Sevens, which is also predominantly a comedy, just of a bit of a different nature. But the difference there is Yu-Gi-Oh! Sevens is still about card games and integrating the game into the show plot. Whereas here, it's just kind of like a thing in the background. And that could be a problem, because that was a problem for G. So yeah, that's that. Tell me what you think about that. If you disagree, that's totally fine. We will see where the show goes. Tell me that below. And as for the Vanguard question of the week, do you feel sorry for Eugene? Okay, maybe we should be a little more detailed. Of the lesser D-series decks, would you rather they get more support, or would you rather they just become forgotten? Because remember, this isn't like before, where this is the face of the clan, and this is how the clan functions. There's two builds of every deck in set 1, so in theory, they could just forget about Eugene and have no problem selling more Dragon Empire shit, rather it's for Nirvana or a new deck idea. So would you like to see them abandon something or fix it? Tell me about that below. And as always, click to like, click to subscribe, and join me next week for, hopefully, card games?